Welcome to the Poke It podcast with me, Pete Jenkins, and my co-host, Nicola Cairncross. In the show, we'll be getting deeply interested in everything and everyone, including business and entrepreneurship, investing, crypto, great films, books, and sci-fi, served up with great food and wine, and a little bit of gamification, and the odd guest thrown in for good measure. You can join in the conversation anytime at the Poke It podcast private group on Facebook. Now, let's see what we're going to be poking at today, shall we?
It's like a festive treat.
It's we like to switch things up. Pete, tell us all about your holiday.
My holiday. It seems a while ago, but yeah. It was great. We hired a 6-story 14th century tower.
I saw the pictures. It's very strange.
It was cool because after a year basically trapped in a flat, it was a very different look and feel. So it definitely felt like a holiday.
Yeah. Cool. And where was this, and what was it previously to being a luxury Airbnb or whatever it was?
It was in Suffolk, in the grounds of a stately home, shall we say. Mm-hmm. They don't actually know why it was built. History has not tracked that, but it looks like a folly, built for just look good from the outside, but also as a viewing point across some amazing views.
Yeah. Okay, I've just realised my eyes are pointing in the wrong direction. So hold that thought and let's just experiment. Because before, when you were on the other side, it's right in the middle of the screen. So I would look at you naturally, and that would take me sort of to the middle of the screen.
So when you said that, I thought your eyes were pointing in different directions.
Yeah, exactly. I was looking a bit mented. Okay, so I'm just going to have to do that and pray. I've got to look at myself.
Look fine.
I'll look at myself. That'll work. Okay, so it was a folly in. Sorry, I missed it. Suffolk.
Suffolk. Yeah. It was a good workout, by the way. 6 stories. Kitchen's on the first, lounge on the top. You soon build up some muscles, shall we say? And also your memory gets better because you're like, right, I'm going to remember where I left this.
Well, I think I just take a backpack around with me. That's when a lady's handbag comes in very handy. You see, that's the point of them. Have all your stuff when you need it. So did you manage to relax after your conference then? And what kind of feedback have you had from your conference? And what did you do during the day on your holidays? You're a bit taciturn with your information here.
Okay. Actually, the weather was better than predicted. So we did quite a lot of walking in pretty areas, quite a lot of eating. Went for a nice cycle ride around Alton Water.
Okay.
And just generally chilled out. And what was nice about the tower was there was no Wi-Fi. So it was a real sort of switch off.
Oh, my God. It sounds horrendous.
It's good for you.
Yeah. I don't think I've been away. How long were you there?
3 nights. So basically 4 days without Netflix or anything like that.
Surely you've got your phone, though. You could do data on your phone.
Yeah, but you don't want to. That's the point.
I suppose so.
Also, you are still in the middle of nowhere, so it's not necessarily getting you a great signal.
No, of course not. Mind you, I'm only getting 2 bars in shoreham-by-sea at the moment, and I'm using it to broadcast live with, so that's working all right.
Funnily enough, we spent the next 3 or 4 days in a normal Airbnb on the North Norfolk coast that had super fast Wi-Fi and Disney Plus, so we bonded over lots of Disney films each day.
Oh, nice. Did you catch up with The Mandalorian?
I started The Mandalorian to check it out.
It's so cute. It is so good and so cute. It's like a cowboy movie. That's what it is. It's a cowboy movie set in space. The genre is the cowboy movie.
So don't give anything else away. I watched the first episode to get hooked, and I'll do the rest over Christmas.
Right. And Baby Yoda is so cute.
What Baby Yoda? Too soon.
You haven't seen a Baby Yoda yet?
No, it's right at the end of the first episode.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, it's just unbearably cute. Phoebe and I just sit there every week going, oh, so sweet. And they make it get funnier too as the episodes go along. Starts to behave like a real child, which is not giving anything away, but it's just something to look forward to.
No, I don't want that. I do this stuff for escapism. I have a real child.
Oh, yes, so you do. Oh, well, I'm watching mine with my real children who are going, oh, cute. So you were able to wind down from your conference then. So tell us about the feedback from the conference that has flooded in since you've been away.
Do you know, I've been quite pleased with the feedback, especially as I sent an enormous feedback form with 69 questions because it was a 5-day conference. But over 10% of attendees filled out the survey.
Yeah.
So that in itself, I think, says how engaged they are.
Yes.
One of the things I really like is one of the questions was basically, what was your favorite talk each day? And every single one is different. So it's like really evenly spread across the speakers, which I always think means I've found something for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also means that, the other speakers don't have their noses put out of joint by a clear winner.
I mean, there's a couple of ones that, because I had 2 questions. One was, what did you find most interesting? And then one was, what did you actually learn from?
Oh, nice.
And then sometimes that was different. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, cool. Good. And what about the speakers? Have they given you any feedback about whether they've heard from anyone or whether it was good for them? Whether they enjoyed it?
I haven't really had a chance to chase them for anything.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So no, I spent the days collating all the resources, copies of presentations, links they were sharing, putting it together and sharing that with the attendees.
Nice. So lots of good follow-up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's all recorded, isn't it? So at some point it'll be a product.
Well, that's right. So literally the last email I sent before this actually was confirming to my video editor to go ahead and do what we'd discussed.
Oh, a lot of work editing videos.
Yeah, it's like 43, something like that.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's why I'm outsourcing it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's far too dull. That's not a good use of your time at all. Now, look, I've just realised I've got my name on there, but you haven't got your name on there.
No, my name shows up.
Does it?
Yeah,
oh.
I think it was just your refresh, maybe.
Oh, okay. We won't panic about that then. And one to on the chat yet, but I suspect we will have fairly shortly when we start talking about stuff. I'm afraid to say that my week is, Pete, I've let you down. I've betrayed you. I've been unfaithful on the lunch front. Oh,
I saw that. You've been to pitch.
I have. I'm really, really sorry, but we can go again.
Spies spotted that.
Well, my business mentor said, "Where do you want to go? Lunch? No, no restrictions, no objects. Lunch? No." Oh, so I was like, "Oh God."
The Caribbean then.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, good point. We got to go, Pete. It's absolutely brilliant.
Okay.
It's brilliant. I mean, there was even a really funny moment. There's a waitress. I don't know how. I don't want to be unkind at all because she was absolutely charming, but she was a little bit flustered occasionally, and she was a little bit older than the other waiters and waitresses. So I don't know if she's someone's relative or something. And I don't want to denigrate her at all because she was great, but she was a little bit flustered on occasions, and it did vaguely remind one of Acorn Antiques, okay. which was really sweet. Because she kept sort of bustling up and trying to take orders that had already been taken by the other people, which was fantastic service. The service was amazing. The food was absolutely phenomenal, which is what you want. Yeah, absolutely. Really enjoyed it. And so didn't do much after that except sit at my desk and think about what lovely food I'd just eaten. It was so good. We only took pictures of the main course because we were so diving in straight away. And we had lots of laughs. And there was a couple on the table next to us that had been trying to get there for about, since it had opened. So what's that, 18 months?
Is it that long already? Yeah, I suppose it is.
It's a year since COVID stopped them going the first time because their booking was cancelled. And they've been waiting and trying to get back in. And they were quite elderly. So I think they were probably shielding or whatever you call it. And they were great fun on the next table. Everyone was very spread out, of course, but it wasn't that busy or noisy. It was busy enough that it didn't feel empty. But of course, they could hear every word we were saying. And Greg and I have a very wide-ranging topics of conversation, so they were in stitches at some of it.
I suppose a food fight is not COVID friendly.
No, not really. No, so really great. What else? I'm just trying to think what else I've done. Not much else, I don't think, apart from the usual stuff. Gearing up for my January challenge, my 5-day challenge in January. And the hardest thing is getting people into it because Facebook ads just are not working as they used to at all. No. I can get people to the page who presumably are interested, but they then don't opt in. So I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to refresh my memory through my ad skills course, which is Justin Brooks' course, and I've got a lifetime membership of that, and I'm going to go and have a look and see what.
Maybe he's got some updates.
Sorry?
Maybe he's got some updates.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I'll go and have a look and see, because they do keep their stuff up to date very, very often. I might try Google Ads. That might work. So people looking for a social media strategy or social media plan would like this. I'm going to give it one more go, because the actual challenge itself is fantastic. Everyone gets a lot out of it, and I always get clients out of it. It's just getting people into the challenge in the first place.
Yeah, spreading the word. Always a tough challenge, isn't it? Maybe we should do an episode on that at some point.
What? On what? Getting people into?
Yeah, broadening your audience, I guess. Yes.
Well, that's something you're supposed to do in between, and that is what this podcast is all about, isn't it? It's about broadening my audience to your kind of people, and your audience to my kind of people, and just attract. We're doing it live to attract people who may be just wandering past on a social and see us and think, who are those talking heads? One of whom is always bigger than the other. I've just realised. There you go.
You did that last time. Oh, very good.
Yeah. Did you hear the squeak as I pushed my computer away from me? It's like the elastic getting tighter and tighter. Talking of tightening elastic, what about Bitcoin then?
Oh, too soon. We haven't finished talking about what we've been up to.
Yep.
You're just
have we? Well, I haven't been up to anything else.
Come on, I mean, I've been back from holiday for all of 3 days. So,
Oh, so you've done things. What have you done then?
Kicked off work with a new client. That's going to keep me busy for the next 3 months.
Wow. Okay. Where did that client come from?
Well, it's a good question, but it started back in September, and then they finally got their funding last week. Actually, the week before I went on holiday, but I said, please delay.
Are they a new startup?
No, they're not. But it's a project that needs gamifying within what they do. In fact, I had a really exciting delivery today. I can't tell you anything about it because of NDAs, but I've got some stuff, some technology that I've got to wear and test and look at how to gamify. Yeah. So I love it when you actually get something practical and hands-on, a physical device. It's going to be a bit of fun.
Oh, how lovely.
I can't decide whether I'm going to wear it over Christmas or actually give them real data from, normal data.
So you're supposed to wear it in person? So you're supposed to wear it on an ongoing hourly basis. So,
yeah, it's what can I say? It's during working hours.
It's virtual reality suit. Is it a virtual reality suit?
No, I'm not going to. No, it's not. I'm not going to be wandering around wearing one of those. No, it's
funny though, wouldn't it?
Let's call it a gamification and a health device. Okay, put it that way.
Oh, okay. And so you'll be feeding your personal data back as a guinea pig of some kind.
Yeah, although really I'm looking at the user experience. Where can we tweak it so that people do wear it every day? Things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking of user experience, that Disney Plus user experience on a smart TV is not very good. Every time we try and go into that, we go, oh, that's not a very good UX.
Well, it's quite young as well, isn't it? So they haven't been tweaking. Netflix originally was pretty poor.
Yeah, it's not brilliant still, but at least you could do. We've got an Alexa Fire Stick now, so you can actually talk to it. We had we have such a laugh around here. My kids and I are a very similar sense of humour. We had Phoebe said, play the Queen's favourite, because we wanted to watch the Queen's favourite, and what it does is it searches through all your apps to find what film, where the film might be, but it actually came up and said, would you like us to play Queen the band? Music from Queen the band, and before we could stop it, it started playing Bohemian Rhapsody, which I think is about 8 minutes long.
It's quite
long.
The
thing that we didn't realise was that they put the lyrics up on the screen.
So next thing you know,
we're doing karaoke to Queen songs. It was, and then Phoebe goes, "Oh, I like this one." So we did about 3 of those, and we were just laughing our heads off. And then we had a very interesting conversation with Nelson, which went on for about an hour and cracked us all up about HelloFresh, because he wants to get a HelloFresh delivery. So I had to refer him, because he doesn't eat the same kind of food that Phoebe and I do. So I had to refer him so he could get one of those special offers. And then we had to go through the pain of teaching Nelson how to use the HelloFresh user interface. because he was just worried that he was going to have to choose, because he's pescatarian, so he wanted to make sure there's enough fish dishes for him. And so we did that, and then that worked really well. And then we were just having such a laugh about whether the meals were going to be big enough for him, because he weight trains up all the time.
Okay. And works outside, doesn't he? So,
Yes, he works outside, and that does help his muscles, because he does roofing, fencing, gutters, clearing. What else do you do? Patios, decking, anything to do with wood, basically. Coppicing. And so we just have such a laugh about the most ridiculous things. You've got that to look forward to when Lana's a bit older.
Yes. Well, I think that's probably started.
Yeah. When they get their own sense of humour, it's such a joy for a parent, because it's different to your own, but hopefully you laugh at the same things. And when it just happens spontaneously, it's absolutely a priceless treasure. It really is. Yeah. So that's it, really. We've mainly been ordering food. I ordered a 2-case naked order.
Just to make sure you don't run out over Christmas.
Well, it's supposed to be a month's worth, but I think it might last 24 days if I'm lucky. But I did get a nice present from them. I got a 1.5 litres of my favourite Rioja Reserva.
The Magnum.
Yeah, the Magnum.
I love it when they get a Magnum from them. Yeah.
So good, so huge. It makes you feel quite naughty, really. What I've got for any listeners, this is a benefit for any listeners. I've got a special offer from HelloFresh. Naked Wines sent me an envelope of things, because I'm such a good customer now, an envelope of good offers. And one of the offers was for the offer that you sent me, which was the HelloFresh offer. So if there's any of our watchers or listeners out there, and you message me on social media, then I've got a special offer where you can get, is it 80 quid off or something? So you get
that's the Naked Wines one. Yeah.
The Naked Wines, the 80 quid one. I've got one of those to offer. And also the HelloFresh thing. I've got one of the ones where you get your first week for free and your second 2 weeks at half price, which is what you sent me that offer, didn't you?
I don't know that I did, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, someone else must have done it.
I don't pay attention to food. It's the wine. It's the wine of it.
I definitely did get that offer from someone, and it was a fantastic offer, because you get your first week free and your second 2 weeks at half price for a whole week's food, which is fantastic. So if any of our listeners / watchers are on here, then do feel free to PM me, and I'll pass on. All I need your email, so just PM me your email and say whether you want the Naked Wine or the HelloFresh offer. And I've also had a few words with both of those about their referral system, because I'm not very impressed with the fact that I have to put my people's details in to get the offer, rather than being able to do it like an affiliate offer. So I'm having strenuous conversations with their marketing department.
It's always good to feedback to people.
Yeah, I give people feedback whether they like it or not. but we only accept constructive feedback, though, don't we, Pete?
Well, I would say, I accept all feedback, but constructive is the best. Yeah.
Oh, right. So are we ready then? Are we there?
I mean, what else did I do? Yesterday, I chaired an event for the chamber.
Talk about dragging it out. Go on, then.
Yesterday, I chaired an event called From Brighton with Love.
Oh.
So the council and the chamber and the economic partnership are encouraging Brighton businesses to export. So that goes back to like our exporting episode a while back. But I chaired a really great panel session. We had like 4 exporters talking about key things that work really well and new challenges and how to deal with Brexit. Now that we've got COVID almost out of the way, what do we do next?
Yeah.
And it created quite a buzz, I think, and inspired quite a few people to think that they were already an exporter, like you. Do you remember that?
I do. I didn't think of myself as an exporter of information and knowledge, but now I do.
So I'm trying to encourage more people to export their knowledge. So this is good. So that went really well, and there'll be more on that.
Was it virtual, Pete?
It was virtual, yeah.
Yeah.
And there'll be more on that in January. And in fact, it's a 6-month program of support for people wanting to export, which is quite good.
All right. Do you remember which our export champion episode? I think was episode 9 or 10, wasn't it?
Don't ask me which number it was. It's the one called Export Champion or Export.
Yes. I'm just going to look it up for our lovely listeners. PokeitPodcast.com. That's your first place to go for all things Poke It.
It's good to remind people of that. I agree.
Yeah. And oh yeah, I'm going to change that new show notifications because the European privacy laws mean that ManyChat and Facebook Messenger are not working as they used to. So I've got to change that because we've just had the ManyChat updates. Being an export champion, episode 5, Pete. All those episodes ago. Yeah, episode 5.
So I reckon
now yeah. And let me just while I'm here, let's just find out the money episodes, which were, they've gone so far back, Pete, they're on another page. Good God, we've done so many episodes. Well, money episodes.
We'll stop immediately.
well, the cash flow pricing and credit control episode was episode 10. And I'll just look on YouTube to see where the other episodes were. Okay, talk amongst yourself, Pete.
Okay. I mean, this morning I've been quite busy as well, teaching gamification. I had my students giving me great presentations on the aesthetics they like in games. So it was they were beautiful presentations and inspiring me to play lots of different games I haven't actually played yet.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I find it really, really important, actually, the aesthetics of what something looks like. It definitely encourages me or not to use software, that's for sure.
Well, it's a key way to make things easier for people to like what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think it's great. And in fact, it inspired me. And I went and found a LinkedIn learning course on game design for my students. And then I finished that course about a minute before we went live. So I did it myself as well.
Yeah. That's great. I saw a screenshot you shared or somewhere floating past, and it looked really good.
Twitter today. I was on Twitter mode.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'm just finding that we haven't actually done a money episode yet, so this is a good.
We did a cash flow one.
Yeah, we did a cash flow and pricing and credit control, but we haven't done a sort of personal finance episode yet. So this will be quite good because I've come across a few very nice resources.
Okay, cool. Well, let's do personal finance this week.
Bitcoin, that's what we're doing. We're not doing this, which is a huge plank of both of our personal finance strategy, isn't it? You must have.
It's definitely the fastest growing bit.
Yeah, that's for sure. My God. What was it? It was back in now. Okay, I've been a Bitcoin fan since 2017. In fact, slightly before that. But one of my mentors got really into it, and he wrote a sort of white paper book of his own, really talking about it in 2017. And of course, then it went to Christmas Day. I got all my nieces and nephews to try and buy some, and of course, it immediately plummeted from the high previously, which was.
So don't take advice from Nicola, everyone. We'll just flag this warning up across the screen.
If you're under 25, possibly. If you're over 25, it's very good advice. It was 90. It closed at 19,740 in 2017, and then it went on the doldrums because it was a new and untested technology. But now we're 10 years in, and we've now reached. It went to 14,000 in summer of 2019. That's right, 2019, and then. It might have been 18, actually, now I think about it. And then the next year, anyway, it doesn't matter. And now, literally, in November this year, it went to 19,786. So it actually topped the all-time high. And then it retreated a bit for a month, and it's been zigging about, which has given me the chance to practice a new investing strategy for a sideways market, which was very successful, which focused more on growing in Bitcoin you held rather than the dollar pot value.
Yeah. I think that's a nice way to approach it as well. Get more of the asset if you believe in the value of the asset.
Absolutely, yeah. And we really should backtrack a little bit to talk about what is Bitcoin, because that's a rising search on Google right now, obviously, as it's now gone to 23,800 this morning.
Okay, that's even higher than I noticed earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it sank back a little bit on profit taking, which is what these stocks and shares do. Yeah. And it's been consolidating nicely, and it's now just broken out again, so it's going up again. And we're in totally unknown territory now, but I have been banging on about it to anyone who will listen, as Pete will attest, for literally, the last year and a half, at least, if not longer. And the people who invested when it was 3,500, when I first started talking about it, will be very happy now indeed, won't they? In fact, everyone who bought Bitcoin during the last 10 years is now in profit. which is astonishing and amazing and magical. But the beauty of it is that I'm really, really keen on is that it's unfiddleable with by governments. They can make on-ramping and off-ramping, i.e. buying and selling, more difficult, and they could try and regulate it. But because it's not controlled by anyone, it's the most beautiful, pure thing. In fact, it's so good, Pete, I think Satoshi Nakamoto must have been an alien from the Galactic Federation sent to save us from ourselves.
Okay. Well, I mean, from a more practical point of view, one of the exporters yesterday, who really does export to a lot of different areas of the world, we were talking about how difficult it can be to get paid from other countries.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, because I remember a few years back, I had a client in Egypt who insist on giving me an envelope full of dollars every time I visited to pay their annual license fee to me, which is a pain when you get back to convert it, pay it into the bank. But, you know, it was a way to get the money out of the country. Yeah. He was now saying 20% of all the income they take from selling software to various different companies across the world comes through cryptocurrency. Right.
Well, let's talk about the difference between cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Do you want to handle that?
I'll take a bit. He was saying particularly he uses tether coins, stuff tethered to the value of the US dollar that he'll accept in. But that's because, you know, it's a monthly service, you know, software as a service package. So he needs consistency in the value.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel, I mean, to be honest, it's a foreign exchange trading platform he sells.
Right.
So he can probably do what he likes if he wanted to. But that's what he's gone for, consistency, is accepting tether coins.
Yeah.
So it's linked to Bitcoin, and it's linked to the dollar, and off you go.
Yeah. I think that, you know, that's something really important to talk about is the whole value thing. And because I struggled to get my head around that at all. And a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space talk about things like nominal value and real value. And one of the things that I've got some great resources. If you'd like to get the resources we're going to talk about in the show, then just email either of us, or probably me, because I've got them handy. Yeah. Because some of the things I made Pete do, bless him, is go and watch certain videos. And one of the best videos to watch if you're not sure about what the store of value means for your savings and your investments, because savings are different to investments. And I didn't get that for a very long time. I only got the savings were for a rainy day. I didn't realize that after a certain point, when your rainy day pot was filled and your disaster pot was filled, you should then keep funneling the money along that were going into your savings into investments. And investments are things that pay you. Well, a really nice George Gammon, one of my favorite YouTubers on finance, he says invest in things that pay you to own them.
Yes, I like
income producing assets, or things that pay you to own them, which are businesses, property, stocks and shares, because they pay dividends. And a lot of people's main objection to Bitcoin is that if it's not going up, it's not paying you to own it. So it's a bit like gold and silver. It's a dead investment from that criteria of paying you to own it.
Or indeed cash.
Sorry? And or indeed cash. Yeah.
Cash is the same. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the reasons.
It's just holding it. If you don't do anything with it, it's not doing anything, is it? So.
Well, that's a really good point. And that's how I sell Bitcoin to my younger relatives now. But I sell them it's a high interest savings account, because it pays interest for a start, which most of them don't anymore. And you can get it back really easily. Whereas at the beginning of Bitcoin, it was a lot more tricky, wasn't it? You had to use peer-to-peer networks locally, or you had to find one online, and it was a lot more complicated. So you had to transfer your money into something and then something else, and then it was just more complicated, wasn't it? And of course, while you've been on holiday, PayPal have announced that they are enabling people to buy and sell Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies through the payment way. But I really want to be very, very strongly cautious here, because you don't actually own it. It's like buying Bitcoin on something like eToro or Trading 212. You don't own it.
Yeah, the platform is looking after it for you.
Yeah. Well, they're buying it for them, and then they're allocating you a percentage of the pot, which you can theoretically get back at some point. Yeah, so that's I would steer clear of the PayPal option if I were you.
No, but it might be quite useful as a way of sending and receiving money, especially if you're working internationally. So
yes. So instead of going through the pain of buying and selling dollars and pounds and going through the very expensive fees that, the transaction fees and the conversion fees you get.
Yeah. And just have it sitting in Bitcoin instead of converting it all the way into your local currency.
Yeah.
Would be a good hedge as well. And a good way to get some of it on your company balance sheet, I'm thinking.
Well, MicroStrategy is just the biggest and best investment on the stock market at the moment because they've got $500 million worth of Bitcoin.
Didn't they put some more in?
Yes, they did. Another 50 million. And the guy, Michael Saylor, the CEO of Bitcoin, has got a lot of his personal fortune in it as well. Raoul Pal's just gone 100% all in on Bitcoin on his personal fortune. He's a big macro investor, and you can find any of these people on YouTube and start watching them. I really like Michael Saylor and Raoul Pal. Raoul Pal's got a company called Real Vision, which has lots of really big YouTube videos about what's happening in the big wide world, macroeconomics, which I'm astonishing myself that I'm getting more and more interested in. Really odd. But the other thing was, there's a fantastic, if you're interested in all this stuff, obviously you can email me at any time because I'm just obsessed with it. But there's a guy called Robert Breedlove, and Robert Breedlove is one of the two guys. There's Anthony Pompliano and Robert Breedlove. They did a fantastic open letter to Ray Dalio, and Ray Dalio is an old gold investor, an old traditional golden property investor, and he is absolutely vehemently anti-Bitcoin. And Robert Breedlove and Pompliano did this amazing thing where they talked through what is Bitcoin. So definitely go and look for that. I've shared that with the people in my Money Gym wealth group. And the other thing is that Robert Breedlove's just come out with a fantastic, that literally this morning, what is Bitcoin in something like 54 tweets. So he's done a Twitter thread, and each bit is in really words of really easy to understand, simple language about what Bitcoin is. But he goes back further than that. What is money and what is value? And then he starts talking about how Bitcoin fits into that. And there was a fantastic interview he linked to, which was where they were talking about savings and investings and the store of value, and why it's so important to have some money free, not invested in things that are illiquid, because even though it's dead money, it's not if it's in Bitcoin, but if it's in cash, dollars, it is dead money because it's not earning. But what it does do is it pays you a dividend of peace of mind. And I thought that was a really cool description of why you should always have a rainy day pot and a disaster fund pot.
Well, I mean, that's good advice anyway. You should always have money to cover you through the strange disasters the world throws at you, like, I don't know, an unexpected COVID lockdown for a year.
Well, this is really weird, this whole thing, because, if a company didn't have enough money to take itself through what's turning out to be more than 12 months now, it's more than a year's money in the bank. What company has a year's reserves, a year's expenses? Well, it's, we've all been very lucky because there's been a lot of support, but that support is going to be withdrawn at some point. And what will people do then? I can't even bear to think about it. I got really quite despondent the other day thinking about 20 to 40 million Americans losing their homes.
That's not good.
Where are they all going to live? Where are they going to live?
Did you see Tom Cruise had a rant yesterday or the day before?
Did he? No. What did he say?
So basically, for that same reason, he had a rant in the UK at a bunch of people on the production set of the latest Mission Impossible film because they were too close together. They were breaking the COVID rules. And he was saying, basically, by doing that, you're going to get a shutdown, and people in America and around the world in the industry will lose their homes. So if you don't stop doing that, you're all fired, basically. And I thought that's very good. Well said. Except
lockdowns make no difference to the spread of the virus, as has been proven all over the world. And also, the other thing is, of course, that they're locking us down regardless of how bad the numbers are in our different area. Have you heard they've changed the tiers this morning? I mean, what's Sussex now? Do you know?
Oh, no, I haven't caught up on the latest tier news.
Yeah.
Someone sent me a message, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet.
We're probably going to be in tier 3, even though we've got something like 37 cases in West Sussex. which don't even get me started on that topic because it really will go south very fast.
Okay, let's not do that then.
No, let's not. So was there anything else I wanted to talk about in particular about Bitcoin? I mean, it would be nice if we had some questions, because that would really help me realize what people need to know. But in the absence of those, then I've
got some random ones, but nobody's allowed to. We've no idea where it's going to go. But how high is it going to go today?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised, because there's no resistance levels, previous resistance levels, obviously, because we're at an all-time high. There's no support levels except for the ones it's making as it goes up. So every time that's the important thing, is to not just look at the price on a one-day basis. So if you go to Google and type in what is the price of Bitcoin, which apparently is the most searched term at the moment, price of Bitcoin, it will show you the graph in terms of daily close of business prices. And that's not the best way to look at it. The best way to look at it is to start with that, by all means, and even go and look at it monthly, on the monthly close of business, and you'll get a good long-term picture then. But if you drill down into 4 hour, 1 hour, and then 15 minutes, you'll get a much better picture. And what you should see is steps. So you'll see it make a big jump over, say, 15 minutes or an hour, and then it will go sideways for a little while. Then it will make another jump. And what it's doing there is it's consolidating its position. It's forming a support level for when it comes back down again, if it ever does. And that is a resistance level. Should it drop past that level, that would then become a resistance level. But we've got none of those. So the only thing anyone who does technical analysis on share trading has got is Fibonacci levels, which I'm not massively up on, but you can switch them on your charting software, I believe, and that'll give you a guideline of the range and where the there's psychological support levels, obviously, at 25, 30, 40, 50, 100. Those are the psychological support levels. So it could stop at one of those and take a little breather, or it could stop at a Fibonacci level.
Yeah, it's difficult to know where it will take a breather, isn't it?
Yes. Well,
who cares? I like to invest on the sideways bit.
Sorry, say again?
So with some, I mean, I've got some Bitcoin just sitting there, but I like to invest when it's going sideways with a bit of volatility. But you can't really do that when it's going up or just going down. No,
because as we found out yesterday, an extremely happy, exciting event is fantastic if you're in Bitcoin, but it's not so fantastic if you're temporarily out of it in the middle of a trade.
Yeah,
you get stuck in dollars, which nobody wants. USDT, as we were talking about earlier, Tether. Yeah. So it's, who knows? I mean, I'm thinking it's going to go to 25 by two. What is it at the moment? What's it doing while we're talking? Oh, it's dipped a bit. It was on the way up again. It was at $23,331, and it's dipped down a little bit to the support level it was formed, which is 22.6, and it's on its way back up again now. So
it's bounced off the new support level. Boom.
Yes, yeah. And once you get the hang of reading the support levels and the resistance levels, it gives you a good feel for what's going to happen next, or what could potentially happen next, because nobody's got a crystal ball. And so I would say, stick my neck out, live into my nickname, Crypto Grammy, which is what they call me around here. I think it's probably going to go to 25, certainly by the end of the week, and possibly 30 by Christmas. Could stop at 28, though. Lots of people are talking about 28 as a Fibonacci resistance level.
Okay.
So it could stop at 28, bounce around just under it. It could and then go up to 30 and get stopped there for a little while. The more stops, the better on the way up, to be honest, because because
each is proving a new level. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Other random questions
about Bitcoin?
Right. Why aren't we talking about the other cryptocurrencies? Because I'm the kind of person who can only focus on one thing really well. So internet marketing was my focus for the last 10 years. Now I can't spread my brain too thin across all the cryptocurrency market. I know you're into Ethereum, aren't you?
Yeah, that's doing really well as well.
Yeah, because they've just brought out a new brand of Ethereum, but they are different, aren't they? Ethereum and all its derivatives are useful things that help software run. Am I correct? Whereas Bitcoin is just
powers lots of other blockchain.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Could you please repeat what you said?
Sorry, Siri's interrupting me.
It just powers a bunch of other blockchain processes and platforms. So it's more of like an engine oiling the crypto world, whereas Bitcoin's the value. So it has value in a different way.
Yes, it has utility value.
So I quite like that, which is why I'm a little bit in there as well.
Yeah. I mean, I trade in and out of a couple of them, as you know, when I'm getting bored with whatever Bitcoin's doing. But I'm not actually long-term invested, although most Bitcoiners have some Ethereum at the very least.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Well, you want to spread. As always, you don't want to be just in one thing, in my opinion.
No. But all the others tend to lag behind Bitcoin, don't they? So it's not, it's never too late to get into these things. Let's face it. If Bitcoin goes to $1 million per Bitcoin, then as it may well do, there's no such thing as too late when it's at 23. But the Ethereum-based coins tend to lag behind, don't they? So it's often a good idea to look at what Bitcoin's doing, and if it's going sideways, then start to look for the real stars in the
other situation. Yeah, in the other currencies, and there's always new ones, but there's also, like you were saying, there are enhancements to existing ones.
Yes. So, and there's some absolute. Let's be brutally frank. There are some absolute piles of poo out there, aren't there? I mean, there's a flimsy white paper setting out the utility of it and nothing else behind it. So you do have to be careful, don't you?
I mean, I've got a rough rule of thumb, really, which is actually not investing in a cryptocurrency unless there's $1 billion worth of assets in it already.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a sort of critical mass. In fact, I think it was in one of the videos you shared. And I was like, I like that. It's a nice rule of thumb. It says there's enough other people in there that it's going to go, that nobody wants it to go pear-shaped. Yeah,
and where would one be able to tell if coinmarketcap.com?
Yeah, probably something like that. It's because they're transparent. You can always tell.
Yes, absolutely.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but there are pages summarizing all of them. So,
yeah, I'm just going to coinmarketcap.com, which was a site I frequented a lot at the beginning, and they had a market cap. Yeah, they have got market cap on the front page of everything.
Yeah.
So
Bitcoin's probably highest, I'm guessing, especially right now.
At the moment it is. Yeah, I don't think has anything else ever been at the top.
I don't know the answer to that. So
in the
some
very
of them have had
early
days, haven't they, where they've been really popular.
Yeah.
But what's the next one?
The next one down is Ethereum.
Yeah.
The next one's XRP, also known as Ripple.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a different thing again, isn't it? Because a lot of the bank systems are starting to use Ripple, aren't they? I know Western Union use Ripple technology.
Do you know? So I haven't dived into Ripple, but I probably should if it's the next one down.
Yeah.
As in, have a look. I'm not saying I'll invest.
Right. All those three have had a great week. Tether is the one that's pegged to the US dollar, and that's the one you trade in and out of if you're trading Bitcoin to Tether and back again, or you could go between Bitcoin and Ethereum and Bitcoin and XRP. I can't do that. My brain can't get my head around that. Litecoin's the next one down, and that's had a great week. In fact, they've all had a great week, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, generally a rising tide is across most of them.
Yeah, it carries all ships, doesn't it? That's a rising tide. So yeah, but it does have market capitalization. So what was your criteria? It's got to have at least $1 billion.
$1 billion, yeah.
$1 billion market cap. Okay. How many zeros is that? It's that 9 zeros.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, now you got me going. I could pick.
I'm pretty sure
it's a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 9 zeros. So if it's got 1 and then 9 zeros after it, that's $1 billion.
Yes. Yes.
And
zeros.
Yeah, I'm just going to shut the door, Pete, because the washing machine's just started.
Oh, the perils of podcasting from home.
Yes, I've got a very funny story for you regarding our shared cleaner, a tap that wouldn't turn off, and a washing machine. But I'm not sure I should share it in public because it involves other people, so that's not good.
Okay, we'll do that separately.
But it was very good. In fact, I'll tell you what, I won't tell you about it, and you can ask her when she comes around to do you on Monday. Right, where are we? I've lost us. There we are.
We were looking at market caps. You were counting zeros. There you go.
I was counting zeros in a very slow and ponderous fashion.
Which was a good book by William Gibson, Count Zero. There you
go. I don't know that one, do I?
Old cyberpunk stuff. You know,
okay.
Author of Neuromancer back in the day.
Okay. Saw Ready Player One film over the last couple of weeks. Absolutely brilliant. Really, really loved it. Such a good movie. I really loved it. It was so true to the book, because I'd read the book and I wasn't sure that I wanted to watch the film, but it was it really enhanced the book, I thought. Oh, the sun's out. So what else do we need to tell anyone who may be watching this about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, value, gold, silver? Gold and silver are starting to move now as well.
So the stock market's going up. Are gold and silver linked to stock market more, or
no? They generally move in the opposite direction to the stock market, but they also move in the opposite direction to the dollar.
And the dollar's going down. Yes, well, that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely, because people want to move. Because this is the interesting thing. There's this massive tide of money sloshing around the world, and you can dip your bucket of abundance in and get some whenever you want. So it's about. There's never going to be. It's like Bill Gates. Oh, dreadful! Shouldn't even mention that on our podcast. But people who create businesses do not take money from other people. They create more money in the big pool of money that's sloshing around the world. I learned that when I started the Money Gym, and that pool of money has to earn its keep. So that's why it's always moving, looking for somewhere to put itself to earn its keep, to make money.
Yeah.
And that's why things move from the dollar to stocks and shares to Bitcoin to gold, silver. Silver's supposed to be moving faster, and it certainly has been this week, moving up faster than gold. But gold's a good store for people who want to keep their money safe. I've got to stop saying money, to keep the value of their investments and their wealth safe. That's what gold's really good for.
I mean, what you just said there, from a business point of view, the big businesses do move their money around and it looks for a home. But it's not that easy for a small business to move the small amounts that they have. Do you think there's scope there for investment accounts within your business bank? I feel like there's because I sometimes have quite a lot put aside in the business because there's dips and good months and bad months.
Yes.
And isn't it frustrating when it's not being invested?
Well, yes, it is. And that's why Michael Saylor's put 550 million of his company's money into Bitcoin, because he spent 9 months, and him and his financial team, it wasn't just him, him and his financial team and all the shareholders spent 9 months analysing the best home for their money. Because
I think my point though is, how do we make it easy for the millions of small businesses to put a bit aside and have their money earning better? Because business bank accounts pay either zero interest or the tiniest fraction of a percent.
Yeah. Hello to Marie Taylor. Marie Taylor is someone I know back in the day, in the Money Gym days. So she used to come to some of our workshops. So welcome, Marie. Nice to see you. Well, there isn't an option, Pete. That's the basic problem, isn't there? That's why Michael Saylor's done what he's done, because not only that, and I hate to harp on about it and be Mrs. Doommonger, but I'm not keeping anything more than £1,000 in my bank right now, because at some point they're going to swap it to digital currency, and they're going to turn any cash balances you've got in your account into digital currency, which has even less value than the pounds and pence that we've got at the moment.
Does it? Is it not just basically exactly the same thing? Because at the moment, it's digital pixels in the bank account.
Good question. Well,
essentially it has more value because it'll be better designed as a crypto digital currency than the cash that's in there at the moment.
Well, did you see they've lost something like 41 billion cash notes and coins over the last few years? They've mislaid it. The Bank of England don't know where it is. So it's actually being held in the black economy somewhere, and people are actually using it. And the answer is, Pete, I don't know, but
minimize
what I don't want is any of my money in something that could be turned into something that other people have got control over, like the government. So, and the bank, to be fair. So the bank are already starting to talk about negative interest rates means that they'll be charging you to save money. And that's one of the reasons why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, because the poor people try and save money and they earn absolutely nothing on it. And then now we're getting to a point where the banks will be able to charge people to store their money. And actually, you know that when you, because we've watched a lot of videos on YouTube now, so we know how the money system works. The minute you put some money in the bank, it's actually a liability for the bank until they lend it out else. So your money's not even sitting in the bank. So that's well dodgy and dangerous, in my opinion.
Well, that's banking, yes.
Yes, that's banking, yes. But when banks are so debt laden and the governments want to go to central control of all the money systems, the average bank is going to fall by the wayside eventually, aren't they? It's going to become just the central bank, the Bank of England. And the other banks aren't necessary anymore because they're not lending to anyone and they're not storing any money really. So the Bank of England will have complete control.
So my other rule of thumb then would be to go with global currencies of some sort, of which really we're looking at crypto. So.
Well, because, where else can you store it? Because the situation is as bad in dollars, the situation is as bad in rubles, the situation is as bad in francs. The euro is just as, there's so many horror stories going around about the euro at the moment. It's unreal. So, and, I'm not talking conspiracy theories here, people. If you're watching this and you're thinking she is completely off her rocker. I know I mentioned aliens occasionally, but it's mainly to wind Pete up. But if you go to YouTube and type in macroeconomics and look for really strong people like Alistair MacLeod, who is a very solid economist. Robert Breedlove is a really clever man. There's Raoul Pal from Real Vision. Any of the gold people like Peter Schiff and Ray Dalio talk about this stuff. And basically, it's getting more and more to the point where we won't have control of our own money because it will be digital and under the control of our bank or a central bank. And I don't want that. I don't want my hard-earned, I'm 59 years old, I don't want anyone being able to dip their hands into my bank. I don't want the Inland Revenue to be able to take tax at the point of earning it, which is another thing that could happen when we go to digital currency. I just don't like the thought of people having control over the stuff I've worked for.
Which is, I guess that's why you have to investigate other places.
Yeah. And I know you're an entrepreneur, Pete. All entrepreneurs feel like this, I think. Nobody, if you're an entrepreneur and you're building your own business and your own fate, as it were, then you want to have control of that.
Yes, sometimes too much so. Control freak.
Exactly. Exactly. So I know you've got to go, so let's talk about what we're looking forward to this week.
Oh, what else we got? Well, I had a meeting straight after this, but it's just been postponed half an hour. There you go. I can see that.
Oh, no wonder you're looking relaxed and not tense.
I've got some work with some students who are investigating the video game development market and particularly companies in it. So I'm mentoring them through a big project. So I'll catch up with them tomorrow. And I was going to have a quiet week, but the new client, I suspect, will keep me busy as well.
I can't wait to hear more about this strange suit you're going to be wearing. I think I need photos. I promise not to share.
And what are you going to be up to?
Well, hopefully go to pitch for lunch with you at some point. But much planned privately. It's a really weird situation for me at the moment. All the things that I love to do, especially if we're moved into tier 3, are just going to close. So if we're not moved into tier 3, and I can go out for dinner and lunch and stuff like that, but because nobody wants to go out at the moment. They're either shielding or they're brainwashed by the propaganda and too scared to go anywhere.
Well, there's a lot of people self-isolating because they want to see their elderly relatives over Christmas.
That's true. Yes, that's true.
As well. In my family, there's an order as well. So if you want to visit your relatives, the idea is you visit the most risky ones first after you've self-isolated to minimize their risk. And then you go to the next tier and the next tier and the next tier.
Oh, God.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yes. So anyway, my elderly relatives, there's only 2 of them. Well, there's 3, but we don't see the other one. And they're over in a new bungalow in Amaria waiting to go back to New Zealand with their cat. But the cat's got vaccinations, and that takes 6 months to work its way through the system, apparently, so they can't go yet. So they're the only elderly people I'll be seeing.
You'll have to look after the cat and then send it after them.
No, it's being sent on ahead.
Really?
Some unlucky person has to pick it up the other end. Cool. Okay, well, have a fantastic weekend, won't you?
Yeah.
And I've missed you. I'm glad you're back. And we'll see you next Thursday. Then next Thursday is Christmas Eve. We'll have to talk about what we're going to do about that.
Yeah, I was going to chat to you afterwards.
I thought you might. All right, then. See you soon. Bye. You're listening to the PokeIt podcast with Pete Jenkins and Nicola Cairncross. You can find Pete at gamificationplus.uk and you can find Nicola at clicksandleads.com. And do come and join our private Facebook group. Just search PokeIt Podcast on Facebook.